I want to give you a real deal on silver. What's going on right now is called the deflationary head fake. That's what's going on. There is no deflation. They're increasing the money supply, so how come silver's going down? How come all commodities are going down? Is it a conspiracy? It could be a little bit. Never know. But generally speaking, no. I think there's a conspiracy with palladium, but that's a different story. This is a silver certificate, right? This is a picture of it from when Kennedy issued it, and it was certified that there was on deposit in the U.S. Treasury $5 worth of silver. Now, I want to get right back to the basics first. What the heck did the bankers actually feel the most was this silver certificate, because it would be in competition directly with the Federal Reserve notes. This, even though it was a piece of paper, was money because it was backed by silver, or it was backed by some real hard assets per se. But it was issued by the Treasury, and I think that's the most important point. And it didn't come into being in the form of a debt or because of a loan, and there was no interest attached to it. It was a piece of paper that was issued. Even if it wasn't backed by silver, it still wouldn't even be that bad compared to the situation you got today with the Federal Reserve notes, because all money comes into existence in the form of a loan. So yeah, you are sticking it to them good when you're buying silver. Now, I've noticed that everybody noticed that all the silver pumper and dumpers don't really seem to get the short term correct. I haven't been getting it exactly correct either, because I predicted around 40 something silver, around 40 to 43 silver by the end of the year 2011, and I figured the bottom for silver was going to be in around by the end of when they had this next correction, April of 2012, and the bottom's still not here. But basically, I'm pretty much correct, because I think all along I've been saying for quite some months that silver is going to go solidly below 26, and then it's going to bounce, and then Bernanke's going to act. Now today we're looking at the metals going down, and I'm happy because the Dow is going down, the Nasdaq's going down, and S&P's going down, because that's the type of stuff that's going to force the Fed to act. Now, will he act? Yes. But I want to drive home a very important point. I don't want to talk too long because I'll lose people before I get to this point. But this is the most important point of every damn thing. How come we're not seeing it like a lot of inflation right now? People are hoarding money. And it may not be so much all these little people, because most people don't have the money to hoard. But it's like this. This is the simplistic way to put it. I just like putting it out there. This statement says it all. If you don't spend your money, it's the same thing as taking it out of circulation. Now, that may not seem to make perfect sense when you start thinking about all the people that people know. Because are they hoarding money? Don't look at it that way. Where's the most of the money and most of the wealth in the nation? It's really concentrated in the top 2 or 3%. It's in the largest corporations, and it's in the largest banks. Actually, they're sitting on a lot of cash. A lot of people are just worried about wealth preservation. That's why they're into U.S. bonds. Stupid fools. But go ahead. Go ahead. Not here to save the world. I'm not here to save the 1%, that's for sure. You know? If you don't spend your money, it's the same thing as taking it out of circulation. In other words, Bernanke could be expanding the money supply. Doesn't matter. It's not getting spent. That's really what happened in the 1930s. Even the Federal Reserve back then was expanding the money supply. It wasn't being spent. It wasn't being spent. People are too fearful. That's what's going on. People are too fearful. Now this chart is, it's a standard old-time chart of, the gold and what it was in paper marks in the Weimar Republic in Germany. Now, I don't think we're going into this type of situation. The United States is a very large country and also has the world reserve currency. It's not going to go into oblivion, hyper inflation like this. They can always, there's a lot more they can do. And if it does, you're going to have a lot more warning. If this happens in the United States, it's not going to happen for at least a couple of years or a few years down the road. It's not going to happen right away. But you're probably going to think it's going to start happening, because I'm going to state right now, I think silver's going to probably top $70 in 2012, and gold is going to top 2,100. That's how fast things are going to turn around. Because, like I stated 50 times over, what happened between the very end of this, like December 28th, 2011, and February 27th of 2012, silver and gold skyrocketed, right? I mean, it was because they thought they're coming out with QE. And Benper talked about this, almost he hinted at it, or they took some of his remarks as this just a few weeks ago. So I still say it's got to go below the 26. I've been saying this. It's almost like the classic bullshit that's out there with the technicals. It's testing the 26, it's testing the 26. It's going to retest it one more time. But I'm really looking at what Ben Bernanke's going to do. What the problem is, it's not actually getting out into the economy. It's not being spent. And I got to go back to this. If you don't spend your money, it's the same thing as taking it out of circulation. If we had a whole pile of people in a neighborhood that had $10 million worth of cash in their house and nobody's spending it, well, what does that mean? What happens when there's a panic for something, though? What happens when it starts coming out? They start thinking, hey, there's not enough of this. We got to buy this. And there's not enough of a certain thing to go around. That could be silver. So in a lot of ways, silver pumper and dumpers are correct. But they play people like fiddles. That's the one thing I have a beef with, because the guys on the top do know exactly where the pullbacks are going to be. And they're telling everybody at the top of their lungs, buy silver, buy silver, buy silver, right before it crashes in there while they're selling. I pointed this out before. These guys don't know what the hell they're doing. So I just want to say right now, what we got is a deflationary head fake. This is the classic thing. The central banks, and you could blame Bernanke, but I don't really think it's him. I think it's like the whole situation. Really, if you start thinking about it, what the hell is economic strength? Is it freaking money, per se, or is it production of goods and services? Why do freaking most of the companies moving out to China and stuff? Because we got 50 million laws over here that makes it very tough to do business. You got EPA regulations, you got labor regulations, you got so much crap they have to do anything. It's like impossible. Like over in China, they just do it. Now over in the United States, if they were just allowed to just do it, like a Nike commercial would say, just do it, just make the stuff happen, make the production happen, well, the economy turned around inside of days. It wouldn't even be a month. So that's 90% of the problem. It's really excess regulation. You could scream all you want about the paper money and the macroeconomics. And I do realize that the Federal Reserve is a racket of cartel of private banks that make interest by doing nothing. They got a great racket and they want it to keep going. So that's why you got to get rid of it. No, it's like it's just for a small group of people. So I know it is a big scam, but that's not the real reason 100% why the economy's down. It's because of excess regulation and bureaucracy. But I want to get back to that main point that silver is actually seeing like a deflationary head fake. Everything's seeing the same thing. It's not like silver's being picked on. It's like it's going on with all the commodities: aluminum, copper, zinc, lead, palladium, platinum, oil, the whole damn thing, right? They're all going down. But that's because the average wealthy person, bank and large company is hoarding cash. Even small companies aren't going to actually, most of them are not going to try to start new ventures. They're going to try to keep steady with what they got going on and not go off on tangents. The risk aversion is off in this type of economic climate or mentality because there's a fear out there. So, during this period of time, gold was going down. You can see it was going down here in, I don't know, around 1920 or something in Germany. It's not a perfect example because we're not going to follow this exactly. But, we had some deflation in 2008. So we're having some in 2012, But short-term predictions, these guys have been off so freaking far, it's ridiculous. I wish I was 100% on because, well, I just wouldn't be putting it out on YouTube if I was 100% on because I'd be making my own moves. But one thing I want to point out that we got another curveball coming up here. And I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, too, in some ways. I'm going to put this picture up here. I'm saying that silver's going to win out in the end. Hang on to the silver. It's not going to go down to $15. I don't even think it's going to go down to 21. It's going to go below 26. But I got a little say something here at the end, too. I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, and I think it's a way out rumor about the 2012 Olympics. But I'm watching that event very carefully. And if I see something crazy happen, where there was some kind of terrorist attack and it affects the markets, that's when I'm going to buy some more stuff. I don't know what I'm going to buy, but I'm going to look at everything. If I see a really hard dip, I'm going to buy right then. And if there's a really hard dip in the markets, I'm going to tell you something else too at the end. This rumor about all the markets tanking in October and stuff like that ain't going to happen because we got Ben Bernanke at the helm. But that's why you want to keep the silver, the gold, the platinum, and the palladium and all that kind of stuff, because he's going to print money. They're going to prop the markets up. And those asset classes like the metals are going to go way the hell up. I don't care if most people don't buy the stuff because basically I'll let them buy it when it comes really high. That's when I want to sell. Because, the game is actually, when you're playing this game with the commodities, whether it's silver, gold, or whatever the hell it is, you're not actually saving the world. I mentioned two other things that could save the world was industrial hemp and medicinal marijuana oil. Those two things will actually save the world. This silver crap is just a way that's going to save you from getting your money imploded into nothing. But it ain't going to save the world. It doesn't do anything for production. Ending bureaucracy does. So I just want to point out in this thing about what we have here is a deflationary head fake. That's what's going on. Silver actually is going to hit a new high this year. I know it's like I disagree with everybody out there because I disagree with the silver pump and dumpers, and they're always permanent bulls. They think every time the damn silver goes down, they think it's a freaking conspiracy. Every freaking time. If every single commodity in the world went down and all the markets went down, but they'll look only at silver and they'll say, oh, the banksters did it. What a bunch of idiots. People like that, I don't listen to at all. That's why I really do. I'm going to state right again, and I said this many times, the guy I listen to the most is Mark Faber. So, but I'm using my common sense. I like Mark Faber because he just rings true with me. But he's had a good proven track record. He's not always 100% right. He's not God. But he's a hell of a lot better than what you're getting information from the silver pump and dumpers. And I call him that because a lot of them were smart enough to sell at the exact right time. That tells you what the deal is with that game. Because, that's how you stay in as a strong hand. Because if you sell at the right time and you sell high, obviously that's not the game, though. You're screwing the majority, right? You're not saving the world. You're screwing the majority. But and I do want to repeat again at the end here at that. The way to actually save the majority is through industrial hemp and medicinal marijuana. That is. Silver is just some other thing. It's going to actually go way the hell up. And I'm almost kind of glad it's going down quite right now, because you're going to see a lot of people telling you you're fools for keeping silver. Just remember, don't say shit to them. And the stuff's going to actually more than double this year. It's going to blast right through 50 this year. I'm not saying this as a cheerleader. I'm using my demonic senses, because I realize how fast the stuff can move up. As soon as they have a serious crisis, and I don't know if this Olympic event's going to come up, but that's going to be another reason to actually really pump a lot of money into the system. And once people start panicking to buy silver, you're going to see it go way to hell up. $400 an ounce is going to be way too cheap. But I'm not coming from the way you see. I'll mention names like what's a couple of big ones, SGT Bull 07 and Brother John F. I'm not coming at it from the way those guys are coming at it. I'm saying there's going to be a panic into this metal. There's going to be a panic into this metal. And when it does get up that high, get the hell rid of it. I'm going to probably dump some around 60 or 70 if it gets up that high, because I expect it to bounce off around 70. I'm going to watch that silver gold ratio, and then it's going to crash below 50. But eventually, it's going to get way the hell up there. That's what nobody's realizing right now. You know why they don't realize it? Because they're not buying it. Why are they not buying it? Because they're stupid. That's okay. Hold on. That's all I got to tell you. You're going to win in the end.